Okay, we got a whole whack of people here, right? Can you hear me okay? Whole bunch of people here. We got one, it's like about 92 people are here today. That's pretty good. So that means the market's picking up. All right. All right. Don't believe me? Maybe it's 92 people online and there's 53 people here, no? There's 20 people online, there's 20 people here. How about that? So what's going on? Is the market picking up? It's supposed to be spring pretty soon?
It's getting better.
Market's starting to pick up. Notice the sun's starting to come up. Did anybody notice that the market has changed? Nobody's noticed the market's changed?
Fine.
How's it changed?
More buyers.
It feels like COVID again. There's very specific reasons. Like Nelson and I sort of keep an eye on what's going on here. I do notice about 2 weeks ago, things did pick up. They're actually doing pretty strong. Things were picking up about 2 weeks ago, even about a week and a half ago. And then about the last 3 days or so, I found a bit of a pullback, but then talking about Nelson on the weekend saying you're busy again.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a lull last week as well. Is that what Aaron, is that what you're saying there? Do you think we're back to COVID? You thought maybe bidding war is coming back. Okay, all that stuff. All right. But makes no sense, does it? So everybody knows that you're starting to educate yourself now about bond rates. Everybody's understand bond rates and interest rates and the correlation between the two. Has everybody sort of figured that out yet? The Americans down in the States, they had those banks failures. Those banks failed and they made a run the bank. And the Americans decided that rather than going up a half a point interest rate increase, they did a quarter point rate increase. And the quarter point rate increase was good, but the way the bank's going down, the bond market dropped. And when the bond market dropped, that means that the 5-year fixed rates dropped as well. I can hear that there. So right now you can get a 5-year mortgage for less than 5%. Right. So would that encourage some buyers to go out there and start buying? Was that why we're starting to see maybe multiple offers, or what flipped the switch? Right. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. I'm looking at here. There's a property on Mary Street in Oshawa. Anybody know where Mary Street in Oshawa is?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where it is? Whereabouts is Mary Street in Oshawa?
All of this?
Is it all of it? Is it all of it north of 401?
South.
Is it south of 401? South. Okay. I said, does everyone know Mary Street in Oshawa? And you said yes. Now I said, where is it? Nobody knows. That was a call I should have taken, because you ever get calls from places and you have the main phone number, but they don't give you the extension, and you phone there and there's 1,000 people work there. You never know what the extension is. Anyways, so on Mary Street North, this would be at Mary Street and Hillcroft. It's got to be north of 401. Isn't it almost at Hillcroft? Isn't it all at Taunton or Roslyn? Anyways, it's a single car garage bungalow on Mary Street in Oshawa, listed for $749 back on last week, sold on March 28th, 30 offers, $950,000. So go back to what Aaron said, we're almost going back to COVID prices, right? Another agent last week was telling me that he had an offer. We represented the buyer. And he was told that on this particular property, it was listed for about let's say 1.3. So they're trying to generate multiple offers. And he went in, he said there was like 100 showings on this property. He had the winning bid at 1.475. And the seller changed their mind, put it back in the market 1.7. So now we're going back to COVID again. We're starting to see some greedy here going on here. I mean, you have all that many showings, that many offers. You get the highest price, 1.475. The guy wants 1.7. He puts it back on the market. So just imagine, just to remind you a little bit here on staging and stuff like that. Can you imagine if you're a listing agent and you paid for staging for that client? Right. And all of a sudden now you're out to what, $2,000-3,000. This guy wants a crazy price, 1.7, property's worth 1.475, and you paid for staging. So that's why you got to be a little bit careful today's market on what's going on with stage and whatnot. And even though other people will tell you, well, so-and-so said he'd pay for staging, so-and-so said they'd pay for staging, or you see You'll see free staging on signs and stuff like that. It's not really free staging. It's free staging at the property sells. And they're asking the seller to pay for it up front. And when the property sells, to reimburse them. So it is free staging if it sells. But don't get caught in that trap because so-and-so said he's going to do it. Doesn't mean you're going to do it because he's not doing it. There's strings attached to all these things, right? So just be a little bit careful on that in today's market itself. What else? Anybody do open houses at all? Open houses, I believe today, now that the market's even picked up, or sorry, I should say the weather's picked up. I think open houses is a great opportunity for somebody to generate some buyers out there or generate some business somehow. Even if you not have any listings yourself, because there's not that many listings out there, but maybe somebody in the office has a listing that you might want to do an open for them. That's something you would want to consider as well, right? It's going out there. Lead gen. Who's in the lead gen business right now? Is anybody doing any like agent locator or any of those guys out there? Boomtown, anybody doing that? Are we getting any more or less activity than we had before? I saw a couple of heads. I'm not going to pin anybody out here, but somebody that said yes. Do you think that you're getting as many leads as you had before? Of course, you just started that too, but
Yeah, video ads doing about $6 a week. And a lot of people over the weekend that were reaching out, so they actually applied with their search criteria, but obviously I haven't converted.
yeah, don't say obviously. Come on.
Obviously, just came, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm finding we're not getting as many leads as we had before, right? So I'm thinking that a lot of team leaders that have team members and they're doing a lot of lead gen, they might be a little hungry right now. I'm thinking because I'm not. It seems very, very, very difficult in that game, which goes back to the nice weather, and you have other tools out there like door knocking and again open houses. Getting out on the street, getting out there, making yourself available, talking to clients. It's spring market's here, it's ready to go, right? So it's a good session. Last week we had the Central 21 awards. We're doing our awards, office awards at the end of this month here. We're doing our thing there. It should be a lot better. It was an okay session. Shiv did a little thing there. She was still there, yeah.
Should be the best advice with the whole panel.
And there's a panel there, which it's typical panels. I mean, I don't get a whole lot of these panels. All the guys come up there and they say what you expect them to say, right? I get up in the morning, I work hard, blah blah blah. And that's what they do, right? But Shiv had a couple good points there. Can I repeat them? One thing is that you can't remember. I can't remember either. No, I mean one was quite simple. Is you're doing your family disservice by not doing your job. You're robbing your family of their future by not selling real estate or by not having a system in place or something, right? That's sort of it's right between the eyes, right? So it's all there. What else did you say?
Overpromise and overdeliver.
So a lot of people tell you that you under promise and over deliver, and Shiv's attitude is you over promise and you over deliver. Why would you under promise? Right? It's a different attitude, right? It's kind of good too. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good session. What do the other guys have to say? There's five other panels up there, but same thing.
That
Yeah.
would be.
Database referrals, work hard, like your clients, all the typical things, right? So no, it was a good session though.
My bid is starting tomorrow.
Yeah, that was my next thing. So $195 US probably. Used to be like yeah, still cheap, right? But inflation's gone up, right? So some people here are thinking, well, I want to get back on the bandwagon, or I want a phone call, or I want to do something. I want to do something. For $195 for 3 days to have Mike Ferry himself, and Mike Ferry's no spring chicken. So if you're thinking maybe he may not be here next year, like I'm not saying dead or anything. I'm just saying that he may pass it on to somebody else, right? Because he's got to be 74, 5, 6, something around there.
Almost sold it 10 years ago.
He almost sold it to his son.
No, it's somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, there's Mike. So that's a good session coming up. On the 26th of April, we've got our session. We've got David Greenspan's going to be speaking. He's going to be doing his thing. We had our Buzz conference last week too. I don't think anybody went to that. No, it was downtown, right? The Buzz conference.
So
And the same thing, same thing, a bunch of people, talking just like brief. I don't know how you can get away with talking to somebody in like a 5-minute little speech on what I do, right? Whereas you got Mike Ferry for 3 full days. So it's a completely different presentation, right? Mike's actually going to teach you the A's, B's, C's and how to start beginning and ideas and other people. Whereas other guys are just talking in a 5-minute spurt what they do. So it's pretty hard to really know what somebody does in that short time. I'm not sure if any other trainers are coming around. Again, we got David Greenspan coming with us on the 26th. So we have lots of stuff going on. So keep yourself going. As far as sales go, this is now April already. So the March sales will come in soon. They'll probably report those this week. But the numbers I've got, we've got around 10,372 active listings as of last night. So at the end of April, I'm not sure how many we had, probably 10,300 anyway. So it's gone up quite a bit. Actually, it's gone down from last week at 10,498. So it's actually gone down a little bit. But
Lots of sale in March, right?
But there's more sales, right? There's more sales. So sales themselves for just to go back a little bit in time. In March of 2021, we had 15,000 sales. In March of 22, we had 10,700 sales. In March of 23, there's going to be 6,800. Good news is we're down 36%. Good news is last week we were down 43%.
2 months.
Nobody likes that idea?
2 months, right?
Yeah, month over month,
The
right?
company was like 3,000, right?
Yeah. February,
4,000 change.
4,000 and change. So it's up about 50% from last month. So it is this is the spring market. The market's fine. It's doing okay. Condominiums themselves are down 33%. Overall, it's minus 36%. Freeholds are actually down 38%. So the market's, believe it or not, it's actually picking up. 6,800 sales is not a lot, but it's better than 4,000. It's better than 3,000. So we are picking up a little bit. Does anybody have any sellers that the property sitting there not selling? That's not happening, right? Not today. Leases, there's 7,700 active leases. Leases are actually up 9%. Condo leases are up 3%, and freehold leases are up 20%. So a lot of people who aren't buying are leasing instead. So that seems to be the thing that's going on right now. So that's good. That's good.
1%. So from January to February, price increase 5%, right?
The prices are up 5% from February over.
How much increase from
I
February?
won't know that till later on this week. So, but I would take a guess and I would say it was higher. Higher than March and higher than February.
More than 5%.
I think so. Anybody else? Guess on that? I think so. Prices are actually going up just a little bit there.
Good.
Okay, lots of technical things going on there. Don't be scared. Don't be overwhelmed, and don't think, oh my God, it's the end of the world, or gee whiz, I think I'll get out of business because the tech's getting too hot. All right, tech is good for us, right? No. Right? Every time, I don't know, every time I get tech, every time you get somebody a new program, it's worse than what the original one was. But anyways, we have to deal with what we have to deal with. So mandatory field. So they're starting to clean up some garbage that they had before. Remember, they took away, and I don't know why it still doesn't work for me. When you guys bring up a property, you bring up geo warehouse from the listing, does it ever work for you? It never works for me. Right? It works 50% of the time, it might work, and the other 50% you got to go geo warehouse itself and re-input the address. I don't know why, I don't know what the problem there is, but I think they're going to fix it. Hopefully they're going to fix it. They're going to make some mandatory fields, but they're not effective till July. No, sorry, May 2nd. So May 2nd, they've got a change here. So mandatory, when you take listings, it's going to be good for us. Mandatory is going to be the PIN number. So hopefully if we put a PIN number on our listings and it's mandatory field, then when you go to a geo warehouse on the listing, you'll be able to pick up the information from the PIN number instead of the address, and you should be able to give us geo warehouse right away. Everybody okay with that? Second thing, when they switched to MPAC and they went to geo warehouse, we couldn't get square footage. Right? You used to be able to go to MPAC and you'd be able to get square footage to 2,500 to 3,000, 3,030 to get some idea, right? But since they switched over to geo warehouse, we can't get that unless you want to pay the $5. But effective May 2nd, it's mandatory now for listing agents to put the actual square footage on a property.
Actual or range?
Actual.
Yeah.
Square footage requirements. Square footage requirements Square footage requirements on all new residential listings will also be mandatory as of July 1st. Sorry, okay, it is July 1st. Yeah, there's different dates. May 2nd is the pin. July 2nd is July 1st is the square footage.
Why they don't?
Why they didn't put it all at once, I don't know.
Mandatory free?
Yeah.
Mine's better before.
More details on this initiative will come soon. So maybe it will be a range, maybe the exact, but why not pay the $5 and get the exact?
Is that apply to all properties or just a condo?
All residential properties.
It used to be ranged, though. It used to be ranged.
Used to be a range, but it was never mandatory.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to give us more details, whether it's a range or whatever it is, but it doesn't really matter whether it's a range or whether it's the actual amount. You're gonna have, somebody's got to pay $5 and get the square footage.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what is mine.
Hmm. Somebody's making money on this, right? Room dimensions starting June 1st. So again, well, I don't know why these different dates here, but June 1st. All room dimensions will be mandatory. I thought they were mandatory already, but they weren't.
No, not listing of.
All new residential property listings, there will be a responsibility of listing agent to measure each room and ensure the room sizes of all residential listings.
Many times they write it's the.
Well,
buyer's
you know what, they wrote in the past, it was up to the buying agent to confirm dimensions, but it was always the listing agent's responsibility. It was never the buyer's responsibility.
How about the taxes? That's all the buyers.
Seller's responsibility for the taxes. You can't, the property taxes have always been mandatory.
Yeah.
Just so Bill asked about the square footage, or taxes. Taxes have always been mandatory.
Yeah. Obvious.
And not a guess. You can't guess them.
Yeah.
They can say whatever they want to say.
Well, yeah, but then if you want to go to Rico and you want to get entertained, just look at all the people that get fined for putting wrong taxes on the thing. So there are hundreds of them. So anyway, so this is kind of good news. So now it's going to clean up that geo warehouse stuff, right? So, and actually we should have square footage anyways. I don't know why they don't anyways, but they're going to put them on, but they're going to put it on houses now too.
So we're gonna start putting actual square footage.
They're going to give us details later. So I don't know whether it's going to be range or whether
It's
actual.
already there.
It's there.
No, it's not there.
So,
Yeah.
no, it's
Not
not
there.
mandatory. It's
It's
mandatory.
$4.99.
No, it's not like to do.
Okay, all right. So you tell me, okay, the mandatory fields on condominiums, you got to put like 4,500 to whatever, 5,000, but how do you know what the square footage is yourself
This is-
as the listing agent?
Geo.
Do you do it? Do you pay the $5?
Pay the $5, yeah.
All right.
And lot of agent include the balcony, that's so
Yeah.
sad.
It's very sad because now as buying agent, you got to decipher, does that include the square, does that include the balcony or doesn't include the balcony? It's ridiculous. It's very deceiving because square footage, you base it on square footage. Is it 1,000 square foot, 1,100 square foot, you multiply it times the square footage. But if the guy includes 100 square foot balcony on the thing, then it screws up everything. So what I try to do, just so you guys want to do it too, I don't look at the square footage myself. I look at the maintenance fees. Because the maintenance fees are based on square footage. So I look at the maintenance fees and I can tell which units are the same square footage. Can't tell you what square footage, but I can tell you they're the same.
If they have a two parking or they
And
have.
then you got to add parking. You got to figure out what it is, right? And parking, just so you know, parking on my building, it added another $120 a month to my maintenance fees.
And if you rent it, it's only
And you rent it for $200, yeah.
Well, your
negative
freehold,
cash flow.
your freehold is included, your steps, your patio, your landing, the basement, all those areas are part of the square footage.
You talking about residential houses?
Yeah.
No, residential houses, it's just the front envelope minus the garage.
No, it's a landing, and landing is a part of it. If it's a drywall, it's a part of it.
Yeah, so it's inside, whatever's inside the envelope, is
Yeah.
square footage,
Not the basement.
not the
Not
basement, not the basement, not garage.
The landing, the landing and steps.
And on a house, if you walk into a house, you've got a big landing, you got like a 2-story landing. Does that knock out 400 square feet from the square footage because there's no floor?
Officially, yeah.
Do they do main floor multiplied by 2?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I think it's got to be a floor, but there's no floor above the lobbies. How would you count that as the square footage?
You get a Matterport square footage, that's so misleading.
Just be careful. Okay, so TRREB, I can stick with TRREB here. So TRREB now announced effective, I think it's today. I read it for April 1st. Yeah, April 1st. Barrie board has joined TRREB.
Yep.
So what that means is I checked it this morning. So we've got 10,300 listings and a lot of their Simcoe listings. So I'm not sure whether we have all the Barrie board listings on our Toronto MLS or not. But we will if we don't. So the Barrie board members don't have to belong to the local board. Actually, they belong to the local board, but they have access to Strata. So they're gonna have Stratus access. They can get rid of their ITSO access if they like. Or if they want to maintain their ITSO and the TRREB, it's $750 per year. Some people are on BDR. I'm on BDR. I'm paying $145 a year for the same thing. I could have got away with Barrie at $100 a month. I think that's right. About $100 a month. I had the same thing. But you got to think, why are you members of those boards? We're members of the Peterborough board just for other political reasons, other reasons. We have other things going on there. That's why I'm a member of the Peterborough board. But you as agents, maybe you don't have to belong to the Peterborough board. Maybe you don't have to, maybe Barrie board's okay.
Is it worth putting a listing on Peterborough board?
No. Is it worth putting, well, if you're gonna have a Peterborough listing,
Listing in Peterborough.
yes, I would. Yeah, I would. There's a problem with the local guys up there. They don't know that property's for sale.
They're not in trouble.
No, TRREB, like Peterborough's an option. Now, if you've got, same with Barrie, the agents that were in the game, they would join TRREB and the Barrie board because they knew that there's a lot of listings in their area that were not on their ITSO, not on their local board, but they're on Toronto board. So a client would come to them and they do a CMA on a property. The client would say, what about this property here? And the guy wouldn't have that property on his CMA because it was a Toronto Stratus listing, not a Barrie board, and you look a little foolish. So that's why they decided to join TRREB, so that wouldn't happen in the future.
So we were not part of Peterborough board. No, sorry.
No,
Barrie
neither one.
board.
No, we have a district on TRREB for Simcoe, but we're not members of the board.
Are we part of Peterborough board?
No.
So we just have to pay some extra money.
Yeah, so you can do the interboarding for $50, or some interboarding they're free, or you can just join Barrie board for $750 for the year, and you'll have access to all those different sites. You've got access to like 18 different cities of different things. So that's what's Barrie's going on. So I can see a lot of people getting rid of their Peterborough and just going with the Barrie board. A lot of people still pay the $50 and do interboarding. A lot of people aren't even doing it anymore. A lot of people referred it to people. So back in the COVID days, we would drive to Peterborough, we would drive to Windsor, we would drive to Ottawa. Because, but nowadays people are thinking twice and maybe they were referring to those people instead of doing it themselves. That's BDR. Now, what else is coming down? That's April 1st, 18 boards, lower cost, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What they've also done is haven't got it written, I'll just paraphrase. The Durham Real Estate Board now has amalgamated with the Quinte board.
What's a Quinte board?
Quinte board is Kingston,
Right.
Kingston, Ontario. So Kingston has their own board and Durham has their own board. Durham has their own board, but they're using our database. They have their own board. I don't know what their board does, but anyways, they have their own database. So now Quinte board, Durham board, and Northumberland board are all going to join together. They're going to call themselves like the Lake Ontario Association of Realtors or something. So eventually what's going to happen down in the future, hopefully in our lifetime, is that all these boards are going to be one board and we'll all be the same.
Ontario Real Estate.
Ontario Real Estate Boards. Why are they changing it? Mind you, I said this a couple weeks ago that Calgary had the same dilemma. Calgary could have joined the Alberta board and had one board for all Alberta, but Calgary decided they didn't want to join the overall board. So why we wouldn't? I don't know. Why local guys here wouldn't? I don't know. But there is something to be said about being local. There is something to be said about knowing the local things going on. For instance, if you're buying properties in Port Hope or selling properties in Port Hope, parts of Port Hope are under the Atomic Energy of Canada, and the land there in Port Hope is contaminated. The land had to be removed, and anybody buying or selling houses in that area has to disclose to the buyer that this is part of this program. So you not being a local selling properties in Port Hope, you wouldn't know that. And this is why I get a little scared when people start selling stuff in Windsor and other areas that are not familiar with this. You see that still though, but you're still licensed to sell in all of Ontario, and that's the answer I get back, which is okay. Which one?
Port Hope.
You didn't get Port Hope? Port Hope is contaminated land. It's all been cleaned, but you still have to disclose it, right? That's just a little sample of being outside your area, not knowing what's going on, right? So you got that board, you got this board. Good, okay, all right, now, new homes are having a hard time. New home sales have dropped quite a bit. And the reason why they dropped is because of prices, right? They're not reducing their prices, but they're starting to reduce their prices now. They're saying that in the Greater Toronto area, they've actually reduced the prices down about 5%. Problem with new builders is they bought the land some years ago and they've got to get trades, and the land is a fixed cost, but the trades have gone up quite a bit. And cost of materials, cost of trade, so they're kind of stuck. They're kind of stuck where they can't really, they have to build this house and it has a hard cost. The costs have gone up, so they don't have a whole lot of room where they can change the price. On the resale market, it's just greed, right? I mean, everybody paid, 2-3 years ago, and the more that they get, it's just based on economics, it's just based on greed. It's not based on hard costs. But anyways, last month the GTA builders in GTA and on the freehold side of the houses, they sold one house.
What's that?
They sold one residential house.
Where?
GTA,
No, brand new?
brand new.
After that must be drawing.
Falling sales, rising inventory, finally chipping away at prices. However, recent gains since 2020 remain significant despite doubling inventory and having the sales. So GTA home prices slipped in the past few months. The single family benchmark fell to 1.76. Down a little bit of 1%. So it says Greater Toronto new home sales are in a rut. Toronto sells first single family unit. Toronto sells first single family unit of 2023. Developers sold. Okay, let's see. With demand for new homes has been a major contribution to recent price pullback. Developers sold just 225 single family units in February, a 65% drop. In the city of Toronto, represented just one of those 65 units, or one of those 225 units. So Toronto proper 416 sold one house.
Maybe somebody forgot to report.
Somebody forgot to report it.
Yeah.
Makes for good read though. Right? You got to use that to your advantage. Mr. Seller here, nothing's selling here. We only sold one brand new house got sold. So you might want to think about your price, right? And this guy here says, get off the couch. We're in need of a housing revolution. So this guy here is anti-agent. He's saying the only people getting rich in this business are realtors and developers. And the public should get together and start a protest and start some type of thing with your government saying that this is crazy. How is it that nobody can afford a house in Toronto? Even if you make $100,000 a year, you're a single person, you can barely afford a house. And they're saying it's ridiculous. Then somebody needs to do something about it. No, not us, right? Prices have dropped, as we know, and I don't like talk about stuff when things are picking up, but just so you know, condo prices dropped in 33 GTA cities and towns across the whole GTA. Prices for all types, resale prices for all types, we said was $1,095,000, so it's up 5% from $1,051,000 in January. But prices from the peak, we go the peak of February 22 to February 23. The changes in prices for all types of properties. Detached homes, for instance, the biggest hit was Brock, Ontario, with the minus 36% price since February 22 to February 22 to February 23.
Durham was 28%.
Yeah, 36.6% in Brock. Brock would be Cannington area, Cannington, Beaverton, Sunderland, those areas. Pickering was down 32%, Scugog was down 34%. Toronto itself was down 13.9%. So Toronto itself was not down as much as ours, but if everybody recalls back in the COVID days, it was the 401, it was 905 in the GTA areas that the prices went up quite a bit higher. And the 416 not as much.
So what do you tell people that our price is going down more than Toronto?
If they say that they want to get $1.7 million for a $1.4 million property, tell them the price have dropped 33% since your 1.7,
No. Toronto only went down 15%.
16%. Yeah.
50%.
But Toronto didn't go up either.
That's right.
Yeah.
Toronto didn't go up.
Yeah, so I say, so all the places that saw the highest increase also saw the highest decrease.
Yeah.
And it's logical, right?
Makes sense,
Makes
yeah.
sense. Everything makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. And nobody got this fraudulent deposit. Everybody get this?
What's that?
Paul Barron was, somebody hacked him and sent everybody an email saying. Says here, below are details of deposit 28,000. Do provide me with a copy of the transfer made. You gotta get the transit number of the instant, so,
Yeah,
and it's written from Paul Barron. Did you get that?
yeah. I got it.
So he's saying that, so they're saying here that you owe us money here, and it was all a scam, right? So,
Yeah.
I never received.
guess you're lucky, right? I don't know. Federal government came in with a federal budget last week. Everybody pay attention to that, read about it?
Here, 40 billion.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I'm with you
Future
guys. Right, no, most people did pay attention to it. There really wasn't much to it at all. Other than they come in with what's called a new mortgage code of conduct. Sorry, a code of conduct for mortgage lenders who are regulated under the federal regulations. In other words, your Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank, all the big boys, right? Not your private guys, not your credit unions. But what they're telling everybody here is that you got to have compassion for people that can't make their payments. And when it comes time to renewal, allow them to extend the amortization to the point where they can still afford to make their payments.
That's the budget.
Budget came out with this and they said there's a new code of ethics. So they're telling the banks they have to cooperate with people who are coming up to renewal, and the renewal is just over and above what they can afford. They want them to work with the client with playing around with the amortization rates to extend them so that they can qualify. They're not saying extend it to 30 years or 35 years or 40 years. They're just saying to extend it to the point where they can afford it.
Interest only.
Somebody was telling me last week that somebody had a mortgage where it was actually interest only or even negative, got to a point where negative interest, meaning that the interest rates were more than what they were paying. This goes back to
I had
2008.
mortgage 950 last year. I had mortgage 950. I just got the statement. My outstanding balance is 955.
There we go, right? So this is what I'm talking, about negative thing, right?
Increase the principal. That's not, I'm not even paying interest on it.
Yeah. And believe it or not, was it 2008 when they had the big crisis in the States?
Yeah,
That's exactly what they're doing, but they're doing it on purpose. They're telling people, even though
Pay
it
whatever you can.
yeah, cost you, well, even though it's supposed to cost you $2,000 a month, pay us $1,500 a month, and we'll add $500 to the principal. But don't worry, because a year from now, the property is going to worth much more, and you'll be able to sell it and make that money back. And they're actually giving mortgages based on that fact. At least in our case, we've already got the mortgage based on what they qualified at the time, but now we're helping them out because of refinance. But that's a typical example here. You end up you're imagine if you're you've got to have clients that might be in a similar situation. They're investor clients and they've got negative cash flow on their investment. You might want to tell those guys to get out of there, because they're not only are they having a negative cash flow from their rent versus their expenses, their mortgage is actually more than what they started off with. So it really makes double sense to get rid of those places. So talk to your clients when you're talking to them, find out what's going on, and see whether there's an opportunity for you to sell those places.
So government have to interfere in that?
I don't know.
Does government have to interfere in that?
I don't know about that. I don't know, they're just interfering in this part here, right? And of course, Toronto's complaining that the federal government failure to deliver a bailout for the Toronto leaves the mayor disappointed. So they had two increases. You guys know that in the 416 had two property tax increases, one for the property tax increase itself, and one for I don't know what they called it, but for services. So I think the average increase turned out to be about 6.5%, even though the average like 4.5%. So that's what they're saying here, that they still haven't got enough money. They may have to go back to the well, maybe increase the 416 taxes to make the budget balance. People outside the 416 area, we don't have any sympathy for the guys in the 416 area.
Yeah, it's too.
Right? 416 is like, it's crazy cheap, right? I don't know if you guys do your own ad edits on Stratus, or do we do it downstairs? You do it yourself? You ad edit yourself, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, so they've changed now. So that's changed now too. So now you've got the current ad edit, and you've got the new ad edit. So when the time comes, and I can teach everybody here, but when the time comes, it has changed. And it's supposed to be better. You tell me.
Bear with it, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but some listings I saw on these things. The brokerage name pops up at the bottom. You'll see like it in like writing, it'll say like sent from Percy Fulton, and it's from that new ad edit. If you use it, it uploads it with the watermark now.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right. So also then with the new,
And it's only on some of them apparently.
you're talking about the photos.
Yeah, like.
The photos,
you
yeah.
can just have
Okay,
it
so what they're also doing on, right now, you're not allowed to use somebody else's photos. And the new ad edit is actually putting a Central Twenty-One Percy Fulton watermark on all our photos.
Like, if it shows up on realtor.ca, I don't know if it's just on our side, and like to prevent you from stealing photos.
I think it takes you from copying, you can't copy.
But I heard that you're uploading it that way, that's why you're seeing the. Is it? Yeah. I don't know if you can see it there. So I don't know.
It's just a bit of a watermark. No, it's no, you're not allowed to copy other people's photos, so they put a watermark on. Well, there we go. So Katelyn's got a really good point. Yeah, you're not allowed to add, anything to the listing call me, if you put call me at this number, you get fined for that, or call for more information, or or property next door is available as well. You're not allowed to put any of that stuff in there. So also,
I'm downloading that photo or the.
Yeah.
I think when you go to print out those photos, it's gonna have the watermark on it.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like, is it on?
So when you give them to your clients,
Downloaded, it shows, right, before that, it didn't show.
Where are you down?
Even, yeah,
And I don't know if it's all the listings, I heard they're only selecting.
it's gonna be all the
random,
listings
but
eventually.
If you start to see it, it's because you're using the new ad edit button.
It's gonna be there anyways.
that's good.
Okay, so I went to Rico just to find out who's getting fined for doing what. Just for fun. I'm sure it wasn't fun for the individuals. But there's always something here. So this fellow here got fined $5,000. What he did is it was a second viewing for the property, and the buyers were at the property waiting for him. He was late. So they phoned him up, and over the phone, he gives them the lockbox code, and they open the code and they go in. How do you think he got caught? Everybody's got a Ring camera, and the client saw it right there and said there it was, and he gave it to him right there. So when Rico went after him, all he could reply was guilty. $5,000. $5,000 for giving a lockbox code to somebody who's not licensed. This person here got fined $7,500. They bought a property for investor client. The investor client wanted to rent the property out. On the buyer's offer, it had four further showings. Fourth, or three, whatever, three further showings, right? And they used those three further showings to show prospective tenants. And how they got the prospective tenants, and they put the rental on MLS.
Oh.
And the property's not closed yet. And the seller, and they got no permission to be showing strangers to the property. So there's a $7,500 fine.
And again, camera.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
No, I think that is easy
No,
to
that's
find out.
property address
Yeah,
is gonna
but
show.
Yes.
And this one here, I don't know why, this one here got fined $6,000 to giving lockbox code to potential tenants, not even a buyer. This one here got fined $18,000 for not disclosing that she was the buyer. Agent. So these little things here, I mean, they all come with consequences, right? So,
Everyone.
and unfortunately for these guys, if you ever search their name up there and if you go to Rico says, how do you select an agent? Well, friends, family, referrals. They also say, go to Rico, put the person's name in and see if they've been up to any discipline things. And these guys will all show up on Rico. So forget about the 5,000, 6,000, your name shows up there. And if I was, and if that person was a particular farmer, let's say that person farmed in a particular area and did something bad, I think that, you know, if I'm not competing with that person, I think I'd probably have a record of it somewhere. It can happen to anybody, by the way.
How
You know.
much if they had, when there's a inspection there and the agent doesn't show up? There's only inspection.
Who shows up?
You have to be
This
there.
thing, you know,
Yeah, you have to be there.
the buyer's agent, either one.
Who shows up though?
If sometimes they don't show up.
I don't know, the buyer's agent doesn't show up, but who does show up?
Only especially.
Just the home inspector and the buyer? Yeah, I think there's a problem. Yeah. It's probably $6,000 fine. Mhm. Here's the guy that's smart, and you guys might want to think about this too. This fellow here, he's gone to Kensington Market. Probably not a guy, it's probably a bunch of guys, and he's found 4 people that want to sell their properties. So he's done what's called as a land assembly. So he's got these 4 people to list the property for sale, and one property sells, if this property sells, you got to buy one or all. You can't buy one or none. One or all, and everybody has to agree to it. So he's done this little land assembly and he's put it together for $24 million. 4 houses. So he's got 4 listings of $24 million.
And he sold it?
It's for sale now. You want to buy her?
Next to each other.
Something to think about. I mean, you know, if you know,
Like on baby.
Mhm.
Weird, it's like right on.
it's kind of mill, yeah, but it's got the easeways or easements, right?
Also, you know, the new Costco is?
You know, so.
Let me ask, where's New Costco?
The last one.
So what are they doing there? Sorry.
Yeah, so like I saw a sign going up, going across there, they have 4 houses.
Yeah.
And they offer.
That's right. So as an agent there, look, you know, think outside the box a little bit. If you're looking for business, maybe, you know, you find a little area that gets some beat up houses and whatnot. Maybe if there's a higher and better use. Maybe try to, and land assembly is easy. All you're doing there is just getting 4 neighbors together and find 4 listings and away you go. All right. Somebody else has to do all the work to find out where they can assemble them, or whatever else. You're not really doing the work. You're just assembling the people who want to sell.
It's the other way around. Usually you have to have a developer to go in and get those 4 properties.
No, so this way you do the opposite. You
Yeah,
get the
that's
4
what I'm
properties
saying.
first and find the developer.
Yeah.
So I talked about Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry's gonna go there and he's saying, you know, what he was gonna say there, if you want to expand, you should seriously think about doing that. That's probably a good thing. This guy here talks about thinking about expanding your business. Here's the first position you should hire. So what's the first, I'm just asking you guys, you guys want to grow, you want to get bigger? What should you do to expand your business? Should you be, here are your options. Should you be hiring a coach or hiring an assistant?
Of course. Make more sense.
Should you be hiring an assistant or a buyer's agent?
That's the same.
No answer by the way. What are they saying here? If you're so busy, you can't keep on top of things in your paperwork, then you better off getting an assistant than a coach. And then once you've got your systems in place, once you've got your system through an assistant, through what we talk about, your systems for success, then you start getting your buyer's agents. But you get your systems done up first. And then if you haven't got systems, then you hire a coach to get your systems. And then once you got your system, then you hire your assistant. But you have to have systems in place before you be doing anything, right? And that's hopefully a coach will help you with that. CBC had a thing on mortgage lending. You guys, anybody catch on? It wasn't a big deal. What these guys will do, they'll take advantage of old folks. There's an old guy here. He's like 70 years old. Somebody knocked on his door and said, "You want to get your ducts cleaned." Okay, and then went from ducts cleaned to water softeners to nest alarms and nest things and whatever else. And what these guys would do, they go to the guy and say, yeah, you need this, you need that. So when we get a little second mortgage, rather than having a loan for the furnace and a loan for your nest and a loan for this here, we'll just consolidate it all and then you just have to make one payment instead of three. And you might as well get yourself a little extra money while you're there. So this old guy here, he gets $130,000 second mortgage on his house. Doesn't work. I don't know how he can make his payment. And this, what's the furnace? $4,000, and the guy's got 130. So he says, okay, while we're here, same guys go to him and say, well, you got all this money here. Why don't you buy a water softener? Why don't you get a nest thing? Why don't you get they sell him the stuff, all this garbage here. He gets a mortgage. The mortgage is 25% interest.
Whoa.
And he doesn't work. He's over 70 years old. He's had a stroke. He's mentally incompetent, right? So that's why he made the marketplace. But it goes back to those predatory lenders I was talking about last week, where you've got these private lenders. You think that they're solving a problem by giving a mortgage for somebody that couldn't afford a mortgage, but that person maybe should have never got the mortgage in the first place, and they're just looking for the guy to not make his payment so they can take it over. So just be careful. This guy's not mentally competent, so I don't know. Bad news. I talked about list track last week. We've got list track on there now. So if you want to look at the activity of your property, where you're getting hits, to show your client all the things that you're doing to market the property, you go to list track, and it's got very nice presentations you can show your client. These are all the things I've done to sell your property. These are the reasons why it's not selling. These are the reasons why you need to do a price adjustment. But you do all these tools for that. So that's the list track. It's there now. It's active. Realm is coming up. It's coming this year, whether you like it or not. But what they've told us that's available now, that you can move your contacts from your Stratus over to Realm. Has anybody tried that yet? So you move from, and it doesn't move the prospect searches, it just moves the contact lists, right? And all you do is going from a CSV file to another CSV file. It's quite simple. But anyways, you can convert it to Realm. Now, what Realm will do for you now, it'll actually show the sold prices. In case you guys missed that, unless you didn't read it yourself, if you've given your client the Collaborate, your clients can actually go in there and they can actually search sold properties. They can search. They can search everything you can search, as if they're an agent, right? And it's quite clear. And what I suggest everybody do, what I did. Yeah, you can put them in a contract, but they have to sign. But what I would do if I were you folks, I would create a dummy agent. I call mine Claire Test or whatever it is, just so I remember it. And I have a different email address. So I create myself as a client. I put myself on there as a client just to see what it's doing, just to get familiar with it. So now as a client, I can actually log in. I can look at the program as a client and see what it sends me and so on and so forth. So you may want to do that yourself just to get used to what it's doing. They collaborate. That way you can mess around with it and then you can send it to your clients. How you send it to your clients is you set them up as a contact. You save the search. And then in the boxes there, you've got to put in how many times you want to contact them, but you invite them to collaborate. They'll get an email. They create their own password. So now it's password protected. Now, as soon as they created that account, then they can get access to the sold data. That's all the legal side. So look at the Realm over the next, 3, 4, 6 months or so anyways, and start getting used to it, start using that. It's very, very powerful. Realm, at the beginning, we sort of laughed a bit. It's the same thing as you're doing now, but as we can see, we're starting to get more and more tools for the Realm. Eventually it will be taken over with all these other things going on. So it's there, but make sure you understand how to use it. Along with the open offers, I still haven't seen anything officially from Korea. I read this from an article talking about Korea officially launching the open offers across Canada, but I have not seen it from Korea yet. I haven't seen the actual instructions. Anybody else see that yet? So what I'm talking about is it's effective. Again, they changed that. Remember, they said effective April 1st, we're going to be able to give contents of offers, but they delayed that decision. I'm not sure whether they delayed it till when, but eventually we're going to be able to disclose the contents of offers in a multiple offer situation. And basically it's going to be an auction, and they want us to use this software when that comes. So be curious to see who's going to be the first one. We'll see how that shakes out. Are you up to speed on that yet? You girls up to speed on it yet? No. I'm not either. So. I tried to log into it there, but that's something I'll do. And all the Trust and Real Estate Act stuff's been delayed. Hood Q Home Buyer Hub, same thing. If you're going on a listing presentation, or if you have a buyer, and you want to get a description of the neighborhood that you're selling in, or a neighborhood that think I'm buying, you can go to that Hood Q and you get a pretty good description of what the neighborhood has to offer, or what all it talks about. It's quite good. And again, it gives you printouts. So if you want to do a listing presentation, it has a little more stuff about the neighborhood, or maybe you're selling a property on the feature sheet. You want to have a little description about the neighborhood, you can go to this Hood Q and get it there. It's pretty strong, very powerful. If you have a web page and you want to, if you're farming, you want to create a web page for your farm, there's some data you can use in that for that purpose as well. Talk about realtor.ca. Sold lease prices, around training, Sky Slope forums. Has anybody played around with the Sky Slope? I was talking to somebody here earlier on today about the DigiSign. If you have a hard time understanding what Authentisign's doing or DocuSign's doing, and you might want to try DigiSign. All the same type of stuff. You upload documents, you place your circles where you want your clients to sign, where you want them to initial, and then you send it to them, they sign it, and you get feedback on it. People that have used the Sky Slope found it easier. I find Authentisign very simple. I assume that DocuSign is very simple, same thing. So, but some people have this mental block or something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so Sky Slope's there too, as well as the forms. We're trying to load the forms up onto Sky Slope for templates. There's a bit of a glitch on there. I haven't talked to you about it yet, but we put some templates on there, but they're not editable. So I'm not sure how we get it to the editable form, but that's something we have to look at too.
I created two templates.
You create your own template?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they editable?
Yes.
So did you download it from web forms at editable form, then you upload it to that?
Actually, I logged into our own office, Sky Slope,
Oh, good.
and from there, I created two templates for the condo and freehold. And also I inserted all the files that we used in office. I copy pasted from the previous office that we have, type. From there, I pasted it over there.
So James went ahead and he's done a lot of stuff there that you don't necessarily have to do, but it's kind of nice to have it there in case you get caught in a jam. I got a call on last Sunday around 6 o'clock saying I have to type an offer. What do I do? So James has thought ahead, and so that comes in, he's already figured it out. But if you haven't figured it out, then it's on Google Drive, or we're trying to set up the template. So I'll talk to Corey with that. Realtor request is coming around. That's not till May, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting out of the, I don't know. Anytime I did real estate training, somebody go up there and talk about real estate. In the old days. You go to a real estate seminar and people stand up and talk about real estate. Right? Nowadays, you go to these realtor quests, or goes everything, and you got this guy here, Trevor Noah.
It's coming, yeah. What that
I know.
comedian.
Wow.
I don't know. And then the keynote speaker, I respect her a lot, I respect her family. But again, it's the daughter of Martin Luther King speaking.
What?
Right? So it's a very good topic, very respected, world respected person. But what's it good to do with real estate? So, I don't know. Right?
Our mindsets.
I guess
A
so.
little laugh like that.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Trevor is there.
So much stress. All the agents.
I think I don't know. I think I'd go to a psychiatrist or go to my church or something if I want that stuff. Now, if I go to real estate, I want real estate. Anyways, anybody have any property they want to talk about? This Friday is Good Friday. We were actually closed this Friday for the entire day, shut down just like Christmas Day.
And Monday too?
No. And then just Good Friday. And then on Monday, regular hours. Yeah. Just normal. On Sunday, yeah, just normal. We're shut down Friday. Other than that, it's normal straight through. No Monday meeting next week. So I won't do a meeting next week.
Easter Sunday, you're open.
Easter Sunday we're open and Easter Monday we're open.
On Wednesday, doing generation.
On Monday?
On Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now this Wednesday we've got, sorry, remind me again, you've got,
We've been in prospecting on Wednesday.
Expecting?
Not
What is-
like physically prospecting, I'm gonna give you guys the different choices that you can.
so Kaden's gonna talk about lead generation versus prospecting and what's the difference between the two and how the two work.
You have to pick ones for you.
All right, good. And what did we do last Wednesday? We had,
Tony Robbins.
how was Tony Robbins last week? It's funny, it's funny, you can't, before you say anything about Tony Robbins or that show, you have to listen first. Because a lot of people liked them, and a lot of people thought they didn't, so it depends who you're talking to, right? Like myself, I didn't find anything. Did you, Nelson, do anything for you?
Never get back down.
So Nelson and I are the same. Nelson and I are the same. Like this is all just.
Us? Guys, that'd be like,
But a lot of people liked it, and some people signed up for it.
you get 100 people, that's a lot of people.
100 people watched it, so that was very, very strong. I did Tony Robbins years ago live. I've seen him live a bunch of times, and the biggest thing he taught me that I always remember is how to forget things. Right. So somebody did you dirt. Somebody did you some dirt like 5 years ago, right? Are you going to remember it? You remember it, or you have to think about it. And when it happened at the time, it drove you nuts and it consumed you. But 5 years later, you've pretty much let it go and forgotten about it, right? And his attitude was, why would you wait 5 years to forget about it and put it behind you? Why would you wait 1 week? Or why wouldn't you wait 1 hour? Or like me, why don't you wait 5 minutes? Eventually you're going to forget it. Eventually you're going to put it behind you. Eventually you're going to forgive the person or whatever it is. Eventually you're going to do it. So why have it in your head for 5 years and why just do it now? Right? Just move on. Right? Put the switch, right? You know, and you
Depends what kind of dirt, though. It depends big gravel.
depends on the gravity, depends, but at the end of the day, 10 years from now, you're not gonna remember it. So, you know,
No.
what did Mike Ferry say? He would do this in front of somebody stand up there and they'd say, you don't know me. My parents, my parents threw me in the cellar for first 5 years of my life and screwed me up. And Mike says, well, how old are you now? It's 55. So it was 50 years ago. Get over it.
That is almost.
Right? Get over it. Get over it. Do the red flags come up on this condominium? I'm just talking about this condominium. It's called Raglan House. Have we seen this? Condominiums at Bathurst and St. Clair. So you buy one of these Bathurst and St. Clair condos. Enjoy positive cash flow plus extra cash back at the Raglan House. Get up to $3,000 per month on top of your rent or mortgage. So it sounds like they're paying you to buy their place. So would you buy one or would you run? Run.
Yeah, true.
But it sounds like they're paying you to buy it, like up to $3,000 a month. What are they, $4 million places, man? Bathurst and St. Clair would be pretty pricey. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. So anybody else, any buyers want to talk about, sellers want to talk about? Nope. Market's okay. The market's fine. We'll see you Monday. We'll see you week Monday. And when's Ramadan over? Is there a final date on that? In Ramadan, guys, here? No, when's it end? Anybody know? 21st of April 21st. Yeah, okay. So we're still a way off. So perfect. Okay, that's it. All right. See you guys. Okay, thanks again. See you later.
Thank you.